Oh my gosh, so New York City, the city that takes more than half my income every single month, and then we all question why we still live here. Today I want to give you a list of my 5 things that I hate about living in New York City. So I've lived here for about 3 years now. There are things that I love and there are things that I just do not like. So these really aren't in any particular order, and from my little opening monologue here, you can probably guess the first one. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the cost of living. So if you guys aren't aware, as of June 2023, the median rental price for all listings, and I wasn't 100% sure if this was all of New York City or if this was just Manhattan, but it was $4,375 a month. Let that sit in for a second. The median, not the average, but that it's just still beyond outrageous. Like, why is it so damn high? Fortunately, my apartment is not that expensive. I'm very, very lucky, but yikes. But the thing is, it's not just apartments and housing that's been affected, it's groceries and so much more. I recently went back to the Midwest and just looking at the price comparisons between what I pay for groceries here versus what you can pay for groceries over there, or even just gasoline, which I don't drive in this city. Actually, I feel the biggest one that I can give you as an example is in New York, say a basic general takeout Chinese. You know, say you're gonna go get your favorite General Tso's chicken, Tao's, however you pronounce it. Probably a semi-decent you're gonna find for maybe $15. Then you have to potentially give any sorts of tips depending if you're doing sit down or takeout. Tipping is a completely different topic. Tipping culture is out of control, but a completely different topic. Get it delivered, because New York is really big into delivery. You could easily be looking at $20, $25, $30 for one single takeout Chinese meal. Now, I went to Northeast Ohio, beginning of July. I had to go home for a wedding, and I did sit down Chinese, 2 meals with tip, just popped 21.
I'm not sure I understand.
So 2 meals, sit down Chinese with tip cost me just over $20. Cost of living really, really varies, obviously, based on where in the United States you live in. If you're gonna live in somewhere rural, it's going to be much cheaper than if you live in New York freaking City, which is one of the, if not the most expensive cities to live in the country. So it is outrageous. Like, I feel as if with the cost of living, you can't really save much. And to me, that's one thing that really hurts, is it's hard to save. It's hard to be able to just put things aside to go and do fun things, which makes it hard to go out because so much of your income is going to rent and necessary expenses, because even regular salaries here start off pretty low. They want to pay you like you live somewhere else in the country, but you still have to pay New York prices, and it's a mess. Cost of living, yeah, it's rough. It's really rough. Number 2 is going to be that it can take you up to an hour to go even 8 miles. And this isn't always necessarily like just by a car, which I would recommend not owning a car if you live in this city, because it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg to keep here. To literally just park could cost you at minimum $300 a month. Insane. But I have been to LA, so I do remember how bad the traffic was there, and it's just as bad here, and you're working with a much smaller area just because it's so stop and go, and there's so many red light cameras, and there's cops everywhere, and everyone's trying to bust you for everything. It's just horrible. So I like to take public transportation everywhere, but oh my god. If you want to get somewhere quick, I would recommend public transit, because you know, it's not the best, believe me. The MTA has their problems. I'll get into that in a little bit, but traffic's so slow. There are way too many cars on the streets of this city, and all it does is back up traffic, and it causes accidents, and people get hurt. Oh god, no. Sometimes it is just faster to walk. Put on your walking shoes and just go. Honestly, I feel like the rule of thumb in New York is if it's under a mile, or like within a mile or 2 or so, yeah, you can walk it. Okay, so number 3 is going to be broker fees, which these are just a complete and utter scam. So essentially, the way a lot of apartment hunting can work in the city is if you have a broker, it's kind of like the real estate agent who literally just shows you the apartment. You find it, and then they show it to you, and then you get charged like an outrageous fee, which could be a percentage of the annual rent, could be an entire month's worth of rent that they get for literally showing you the place for 15-20 minutes. It's a complete and utter rip off. So I understand there are broker services where they find the apartments and then they present them to you, which I can sort of justify more of why there would be a fee. But there's so many instances where you find the apartment. Say if you use Street Easy, which is very popular for finding apartments in New York. If I find the apartment and I show up to look at it, I found it, I did the work, all you did was open the door, why am I paying you anything? So for me, broker fees, total scam unless you're providing a true service like hunting down the apartments for me, literally a waste of money. So it is possible to avoid them. You have to find non-broker apartments or fee-free apartments, things like that, but I'm just, it's a trash system and they should be illegal. Number 4 is going to be luxury apartments. New York has a little bit of a housing crisis because, as you know, we are an island, or at least Manhattan is an island. Well, technically so is Brooklyn and Queens, and it's attached to Long Island and the hand, all of that. So we only have so much space. You can only expand out so much. So a lot of the time we build up. And then there's a lot of issues with the zoning laws where you can't build residences in like certain areas, and they don't want to convert office buildings into apartments because they want to keep certain areas as just businesses. And then we also have tons of just vacant apartments just like sitting in the city that are unlisted. Landlords don't want to rent out. Oh God, it's a disaster. And getting like affordable housing built in this city is an absolute nightmare. And the other problem is most developers do not want to build it because it's not profitable to them. So what they wind up doing is building these cheap luxury apartments, cut a lot of corners, and they make them look pretty and add a bunch of like facilities and things, and then charge you exorbitant amounts of rent to live there. And then the cost of the things that you have to meet to even get an apartment in this city is also just crazy. But again, that's a different topic. Instead of there being places for your average New Yorker who's just trying to get by to live, it just keeps dwindling. That's a massive issue. They just keep building luxury. So at the point that they're going, no one's gonna be able to afford to live here, and all of the regular apartments are going to be not only astronomical because of cost of living, but they're gonna be fewer and fewer available, and then the only people who are gonna be able to live here are rich people who can afford these luxury apartments. And good luck trying to get anything probably within a regular price range that doesn't take more than half your income. And I cannot imagine trying to do apartment hunting now. I really want to just hold on to the one that I have because it's just not worth it. The luxury apartment building thing is just awful. It helps no one, and then a lot of the time they don't even rent that many of them out. A lot of them stay vacant, so it's just an eyesore and it's unnecessary construction. We actually have plenty of apartments available. They just don't want to rent them out for reasonable prices, and it's just trash. That's how I feel about that. Okay, and number 5, the MTA. I believe it stands for the Metropolitan Transit Authority, and it's a mess. Is the kindest way I can put it. It's dirty. They waste money and then they just beg for more. It's becoming more and more unsafe. Things aren't getting improved or fixed. There's always claiming they're doing maintenance, but I don't honestly know if we ever see anything being fixed. There are cops in the subways, but they usually just stand around, and a lot of the times I will see people jump the turnstile and they don't even do anything. They just stand there. And now the MTA is actually bumping up the fare from $275 to $290, which they're actually more concerned with fare evasion than fixing the problems with the subway. They were also complaining that they weren't turning a profit, and it's like, you're a public service. You're not supposed to be turning a profit. You should be breaking even at best. They're delayed. They're used as places to sleep by people who don't have anywhere to sleep at night. So they smell because they're used as like public toilets. And it's just an overall unpleasant experience. The subways also have very little ventilation, so especially in the summer they get very, very hot, and you just don't want to be down there. Things are always broken. They claim they're fixing things. We're not really sure what's getting fixed. It's just an all-around thing. So I actually love not having a car, but the MTA has issues. It is by no means perfect, and they just want more money. I don't know what they're doing with our money other than probably funneling it into their own bank accounts. So yeah, so those are my 5 things that I hate about New York City. As someone who's lived here for 3 years and has experienced quite a bit, I've lived in multiple parts of Manhattan now, and I've visited multiple boroughs. I think those are probably my top 5 complaints. Wanted to keep this list short, but if there's something that you think I missed, please please leave a comment below. Please also keep it civil. We would like a calm and kind discussion below. I look forward to engaging with you guys in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Slow down, hold on tight now. It's okay to meet me at the front line. I've got cold feet.